Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Audiobooks. Today I'm taking a look at a book called written by Gary John Bishop. Now with this book, yes, I don't normally have profanities on the channels, especially on the Hypersanity for Kids channel. I don't swear. With this book, there is a bit of an exception, and it's so well written. I also do think it is better as an audiobook. That's why I'm doing it on this channel, because I listened to it 3 times before doing this video. I usually listen to something and then maybe within a couple months or up to 6 months I will review it on the channel. Otherwise with this book, it was that much value that I did go through it 3 times because there were so many interesting points to touch on within the book for yourself. And I think that's part of the purpose of certain self-help books. And I think this one has a deeper point I will touch on at the end to reflect back onto, because I think there's a certain psychology point that may help you with your life. For now, we'll just get into it. Number 1. I am willing. There are 7 assertions within the book. I should have said that within the intro. Though with I am willing, the idea is by telling yourself I am willing and following through by taking action. And some things within the book can sound simple, though with a lot of the different examples that he gives and the deeper psychology subject matter, there is something more that you can get out of this book by applying it to your own life. And he does challenge and test certain things, especially when it comes to certain people with positive thinking, and he says, it may not apply to you, but hear me out. And there's just different ways of challenging your mind with this book. Though the first assertion, I am willing, even under difficult situations, to make a change in your life. Number 2, I am wired to win. This is one of the most interesting psychology points that I have ever heard, and this is one of the reasons I went through the book 3 times. I feel this is something, as the subject matter I will come back to, and I will do a video on this subject. I am wired to win, because the idea of the psychology is no matter how we are thinking, we are actually still wired to win to what we are thinking, even if it's tragic. And an example, someone can be wired to win for their relationship to break down and conveniently blame their parents for their upbringing. So that's just a simple example which he gives, and there is some different philosophy within Stoic philosophy within the book as well, and different references that help to encourage your mind. Though with the subject of I am willing, it all starts with a different thought and a process to action. And there are different people who are wired to win in different ways, even if it is horrific. And when you apply this logic to your personal life and to your writing can come more alive, because from a certain character perspective, everyone in their own way is wired to win for the outcome of what they're thinking. So one thing I say to certain people who do get emotional, when they feel out of control, try to get them to stop and ask, what are you thinking within this time? Instead of saying certain things, take the moment and answer, what are you thinking?
Bree, hi. What can I do for you?
Well, for starters, you can help me prove to the police that we didn't conspire to kill my husband.
Okay.
With the second assertion, I enjoyed this point of the audiobook so much more, and I've come back to it many times. And in a lot of things that I've corresponded in different parts of business as well, it does make a lot of sense for this assertion, because in life, no matter what the outcome is, we are psychologically wired to win. And that's a point to always come back to with every aspect of what you do in life. I am wired to win. Number 3, I got this. It's one of the biggest assertions to tell yourself in life, even when you are up against certain obstacles. Granted, set yourself realistic goals as well. Though when you look at certain things to any venture, if you want a bigger standard of life, you got to do something for that standard. You can't just expect it to be, I got this and it's going to happen. There has to be certain action, obviously, to follow through with things. Though telling yourself and understanding to the goals that you're setting, I got this. And some of the different examples that he gives, and this is one other point with the story, when you do have other challenges in your life that you do overcome, in perspective, you're still alive today, so you must have done something right to still be alive. So a simple analogy, and again, think about that. With all the different goals that you're setting forward, I got this. Number 4, I embrace uncertainty. One example I want to give with this, which isn't in the book, when you're writing a book, Beatrix Potter, one of the biggest things that she said, even with children's books, you have no idea where a book is going to take you. And that's the uncertainty. So you may be certain that you're writing a book, and then there is a certain uncertainty that you have to embrace, that you don't know where the story is going to take you. And that is no different from writing non-fiction and from writing different fiction. Think about this point, though, with your writing and with other goals. And he does give certain examples. And it is like with any type of career path. You have a level of certainty, and then there is another part of uncertainty to where you haven't been. But you choose to embrace the uncertainty and work through the unknown. Now, it's also not saying to go out and do something completely idiotic and stupid, though there's nothing ventured and nothing gained without going into the unknown. Number 5, I am not my thoughts. I am what I do. This is the interesting part. This is where we go from listening to the voice in our mind, which is part of the beginning introduction of the book. The voice in our head, we spend more time with the thoughts in our mind than any other correspondence with everyone else. We spend more time on our own. Now, with this sort of point, yes, we are all a little crazy. And again, the idea of the book is to get out of the different negative thoughts and being stuck in your mind with that cycle to getting out and living your life. And that's one of the most interesting points. This is where we're starting to get from just having thoughts and how we're rewiring our thoughts to being able to go out and live our life. So with this book, there is a lot of a deeper subject that he touches on in a more basic form, though again, when you just listen to the assertion for what it is, whether you read the book or not, I do recommend the book highly. That's why I did listen to it 3 times. Though think about it. I am not my thoughts. I am what I do. Number 6, I am relentless. He touches on Arnold Schwarzenegger with this point, and again, we're getting more away from the thoughts in our mind and thoughts of other people, and more into what we are doing to be relentless and living our life and putting through action. And part of being relentless that works well is having routine. Now, granted, some situations are a bit different. I have some routine now with my job that I work 24 hours a week with, though before I worked all different hours and then I did heaps of overtime, especially with the times of COVID as a nurse. So there was something within the profession that I have that wasn't easy to have routine and certain structures. Now, because I've changed things, yes, I don't earn what I earn with my job, but now I'm building business. And this is the different path of moving forward and being relentless. The point on being relentless that he did touch on that I found fascinating was about Arnold Schwarzenegger with his career. And this is just where things apply to your life by the different examples. And he does touch on a lot of things about being relentless and living your life. And he says, with some of the things that he's gone through with helping people, you'd have your toes curling if you heard some of the horrific stories of what people have overcome and still being relentless to live their life. Number 7, I expect nothing and accept everything. The idea is letting go of rigid and difficult situations that we don't understand and can't control, and letting go of certain things that are bad in our life, which he does say, if you're in a bad relationship, leave. A lot of the things can sound a little cliche and simple because he's presented it in the simplest form. If something doesn't serve you good in your life, get rid of it and move forward and accept things. Now, in certain situations, sometimes a situation can be hard to see with something like letting go, and sometimes it can be the best thing that you've ever done. Though with different examples that are given, different ways that he challenges different readers, or in this case, listeners to the audiobook. You can also apply these different rules within your life. But think about that. I expect nothing, then I accept everything. And that's where you take responsibility for your own actions and assertions to what you're doing. And with these 7 rules, I do think it applies well to a good formula to take control of your life. Finally, I'd like to thank Joanna Tempone for recommending this book, and she also said her husband's gone through the book as well. I think there is a lot to touch on with this book, and I love this recommendation. As far as any sort of book goes, I'm surprised I've listened to it 3 times in a short period of time, because it was that good. Now, just to touch on the 7 assertions one more time. I am willing. I am wired to win. I got this. I embrace the uncertainty. I am my thoughts. I am what I do. I am relentless. And finally, I expect nothing and accept everything. Think about these 7 points within your life. My favourite within the 7 is I am wired to win. It allows me to understand people that we have to deal with better within life, and it makes me think about boundaries that we need to set with people. Though, I did have another recommendation for another book, but that's another story.